It is impossible for Kellen Moore to fix the New Orleans Saints. Ladies and gentlemen, today the video is from J&D Productions. Now, this has been sent to me a million times, and I cannot wait to watch this. I have a good idea of how this video is going to go. First, I've also had people saying, James, breaking news. Breaking news, brother. The Saints just agreed with Brandon Staley to be the defensive coordinator. You going to talk about it? And I said no, because I talked about it 5 days ago. I predicted the future, ladies and gentlemen. I made a video almost a week ago, almost a week before the hiring, laying out the hire, what I thought about it, and breaking down the X's and O's of Brandon Staley's defense. So if you want to see that, go check it out. I mean, I say it all the time, but you talk about being on a whole nother level is when you're a week ahead of breaking news. People right now are scrambling to do their Brandon Staley research. Did it a week ago. All right, let's watch this. Now, this is what I think is going to happen. It's about prediction. I think this video is going to be a bunch of stock B-roll. It's going to be a bunch of talk about the salary cap, cap hell, Mickey Loomis, and then he's going to spend, I'm going to say, oh, wow, he's in the video. I think he's going to spend 80% of the video just reading off the depth chart and the roster. So I'm not expecting very much out of this. I'm coming into it kind of pissed off, honestly. And I plan on just completely nuking this entire video.
Kellen Moore is finally a head coach. His name has been thrown around for openings before, and now it's his time. And he's inheriting a pretty big mess with the Saints. There are 5 players over 30 years old set to take up a ton of cap space. Demario Davis, Cameron Jordan, Taysom Hill, Derek Carr, and Tyrann Mathieu.
Do we just end the video? I mean, what are we? We're 21 seconds in, and exactly what I thought was going to happen has come to fruition. Stock B-roll, some audio track, intense background music, reading off the roster, and salary cap. It's the royal flush, ladies and gentlemen.
Contract rework for Ryan Ramczyk to retire will help clear up $16.7 million in cap space, but it's still pretty bad. Moore already has some big decisions to make, specifically with Derek Carr. It's been rough for the Saints since Sean Payton retired and then was traded to the Broncos. New Orleans has 2 9-8 seasons and 2 losing seasons. Dennis Allen, simply put, flopped at head coach, and now it's up to Kellen Moore to try to turn around the Saints. Moore has had a lot of success as a coordinator. He was in Dallas for a while and just won a Super Bowl as the Eagles offensive coordinator. There's no doubt that Kellen Moore is well deserving of a head coach job, but fixing the Saints won't exactly be easy. Kellen Moore has football in his blood. He grew up in All
right, I mean, I'm kind of giving this guy some rope here. I'm trying, I like to jump in when a relevant point is made to give my reaction. So far, we're getting I feel like I'm watching like an old school, remember like at 11 p.m. on weekdays, Fox Sports used to do like documentaries. It was like My Life or Life, or something like that. And it was just a profile on a player or coach. I feel like that's what I'm watching right now.
Washington, where he went to high school and played for his dad, Tom.
I mean, this is insane. I mean, I got NSFW photos. I mean, what's going on here?
Tom Moore, who won 4 state titles at Prosser in 23 seasons. Kellen went to practices as a kid and eventually was a star for the Mustangs, where he lettered in football and basketball for 3 years. He set Washington State career records with 787 completions and 173 touchdown passes, and set state single season records for completions, yards, and touchdown passes. He threw for 11,306.
Kellen Moore, it's impossible for Kellen Moore to fix the New Orleans Saints, but first, let me tell you about his high school stats.
67 yards and only 34 interceptions in high school. He got Prosser to the state semifinals as a senior. It was named the State Gatorade Player of the Year. Kellen decided to play at Boise State, and 2 years later, his dad stepped down as the head coach at Prosser to watch him and his brother Kirby Moore play at Boise State. Kirby Moore was a 4-year starter at Prosser and was the Washington 2A Player of the Year as a senior.
What are we talking about, Kirby Moore? It's impossible for Kellen Moore to fix the New Orleans Saints. Kirby Moore was a two-way player, slot receiver for the Prosper Washington Cougars.
Had 131 receptions for 2,126 yards and 34 touchdowns. For the Mustangs, he caught 304 passes for 4,909 yards and a national high school record 95 touchdowns.
Ladies and gentlemen, just in case you slipped off into the ethereal realm and are confused of what reality even is anymore, we are 2 minutes into this video titled "It's Impossible for Kellen Moore to Fix New Orleans Saints," and all we're talking about is Kirby Moore's. We're actually profiling Kirby Moore's high school football statistics.
Kirby then followed his brother Kellen to Boise State, where he spent 5 seasons. As a redshirt junior, he was the second leading receiver for the Broncos with 36 receptions, 368 yards, and a single touchdown. For his career there, Kirby had 115 receptions for 1,137 yards and 6 total touchdowns. He then got into coaching and currently serves as the offensive coordinator at Missouri. Kellen Moore was a true star at Boise State and a rare lefty. After he redshirted his true freshman year, he led the Broncos to an undefeated regular season and a WAC championship. He was the WAC Freshman of the Year after he had 3,486 yards, 25 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. In 2009, he threw for a school record 39 touchdowns with only 3 interceptions and 3,536 yards. Boise State went 14-0 and Moore finished 7th in Heisman Trophy voting. But the next season was even better. Moore finished 4th in Heisman voting. It was the WAC Offensive Player of the Year and a first-team.
I hope we go week by week. I hope we go week by week with Boise State's schedule. In 2008 or 2014 or whatever this guy's talking about. What about the backup running back? Can we hear his high school stats? Can we hear who he went to homecoming with? What's going on out here, guys? What's going on? What's the situation? I'm trying to do a video. This guy's profiling the entire state of Washington. Jesus, thank you. Damn.
All-American for the second straight season after he had 3,845 yards, 39 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions as Boise State went 12-1. As a senior, Moore passed for 3,800 yards, 43 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions as the Broncos went 12-1 again. Despite his success in college, Kellen Moore went undrafted at the 2012 NFL Draft. There were a lot of doubts surrounding his abilities as a pro, especially after he measured in just shy of 6 feet. He was signed by the Lions and spent 3 seasons there before spending 3 seasons with the Cowboys. 2015 was the lone season that he got on the field. He appeared in relief just once and got 2 starts, losing both. He passed for 779 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. He missed 2016 after he suffered a fractured fibula, and after spending some time on the practice squad in 2017, he retired from the NFL and stayed in Dallas and took up coaching. Kellen Moore was the Cowboys quarterbacks coach for 1 season before he became.
We are officially over halfway. We are officially over halfway through this video, and we have not talked a single thing about why it's impossible for Kellen Moore to fix the New Orleans Saints. We are over halfway through the video, and we have exclusively profiled Kellen Moore, his brother, the Boise State Broncos, and Prosser High School. This is crazy. Crazy what's going on. I mean, doesn't this just make you sick to your stomach? Doesn't this just make you want to vomit all over yourself? That these hombres are out here putting out these kind of videos, wasting people's time when the face of the franchise exists, and I'm putting out the content that I'm putting out.
The offensive coordinator. He was the OC for 4 years and stayed in the role when Jason Garrett was replaced by Mike McCarthy. Moore had a top 6 scoring offense 3 times, including a number 1 scoring offense in 2021. 2020 was the outlier when Dak Prescott fractured his ankle in week 5, and after Dallas fell short in the playoffs again in 2023, Moore.
I was at Geisha Japanese restaurant in New Orleans, right across the street from Caesars. I went to watch this game. Watched almost the entire game at the sake bar there. Love Geisha, good people, good prices, good menu. Always take care of the face of the franchise when I'm down there. The sake, they do a sake appetizer or happy hour. So does Viet Orleans. If you're ever in the CBD in New Orleans, look for them during happy hour. BOGO. I think Viet Orleans is BOGO. Or no, Geisha's BOGO. Viet Orleans is like $3 sake, large sake bottles. It's crazy. But yeah, shout out Geisha. And yeah, this was an absolute ass whipping.
Moore and the Cowboys parted ways. He was hired to be the Chargers offensive coordinator soon after, and they had the number 21 scoring offense, and Brandon Staley was fired during the season. He was then hired to be the Eagles offensive coordinator under Nick Sirianni. Philadelphia had the number 8 scoring offense, number 2 rushing offense, and route to winning the Super Bowl. And it's safe to say that it earned Moore a head coaching gig with the Saints. There's no doubt in my mind that Kellen Moore is a great coordinator. If anything, really the culprit of his firings in the past have been him being the scapegoat. Obviously, he was good in Dallas, and then he went to Philly, which, to be fair, did have one of the most stacked rosters in the NFL, but still, he went on and won a Super Bowl. This is a guy who is good at his job. Now, with that being said, being a good coordinator and being a good head coach are very different things.
True.
And we've seen what Moore can do as a coordinator, but this is our opportunity of seeing what he can do at the biggest stage of his career.
All right, here we go. It sounds like we're about to learn why it's impossible for Kellen Moore to fix the New Orleans Saints.
Saints are a shit show.
Yep.
I mean, it really is no secret why they took the longest to find their head coach. Maybe
Well, my mustachioed brother, you don't think that maybe they took the longest to find their coach because their coach was coaching in the Super Bowl, which is quite literally the last game of the season. Thus, whoever was hiring Kellen Moore would therefore theoretically have to be the last to hire their coach? Does that make sense to anybody else?
it was because they were locked in on Kellen Moore the entire time, or maybe it's because nobody wanted to deal with the shit show that is the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, I guess that probably could be it. Maybe. So let's think about this one, ladies and gentlemen. So we've got the Saints, who are waiting to get Kellen Moore as the head coach, who is playing in the Super Bowl. Or maybe no one just wanted to sign with the Saints. What would the Saints have done if it wasn't for Kellen Moore? Would they have just not had a coach? Would Alvin Kamara just coach the team? Would I have coached the team? Just no one wanted to sign there or be their coach, except for the offensive coordinator for the Super Bowl winning Philadelphia Eagles. I guess that is true. I guess that could be it. Oh well.
Cap room is an absolute mess.
Cap room on the bingo card. I said that earlier in the video.
Is an absolute mess. We don't know what's going to happen at quarterback. Derek Carr wants to not take a pay cut because he still thinks he's like that, even though he's really not.
Well, he shouldn't take a pay cut. No one should ever take a pay cut.
Going to be very interesting to see what Kellen Moore can do with this team. I have tremendous faith in him as an offensive play caller, so the offense could theoretically get turned around if they can find their quarterback of the future, because frankly, that's where I think it starts. I don't think Derek Carr is a long-term solution. Maybe he sticks around for another year. I'm not sure. But that's going to be Kellen Moore's job day one, essentially, to figure out what to do at quarterback, because that's where the offense starts. And
yes, for sure. No doubt about it. That is going to be his job. That's also going to be the job for every other new coach who is in a new job, is find out who the quarterback's going to be, figure out the offense, make the roster better,
The offense was not good, with or without Carr, really. I'm excited to see Kellen Moore get a shot as a head coach. I'm just not so sure it's going to go so great. Not because I don't believe in Kellen Moore, but because I don't really believe in the Saints. Dennis Allen was hired to be the Saints head coach in 2022 after serving 7 seasons as the defensive coordinator under Sean Payton. It wasn't his first head coaching gig, though. Allen was previously the head coach for...
Are we now profiling Dennis Allen? What does Dennis Allen have to do with Kellen Moore? The title should be why have the Saints not been good over the last 4 years? The title should be why have the Saints not been good over the last 4 years, plus sign a documentary of Kellen Moore's high school career.
For the Raiders for 3 seasons and was fired during the 2014 season. He went 8-28 during his time there. And when Peyton retired in 2022, Allen was promoted to be the new head coach. Andy Dalton and Jameis Winston were the Saints quarterbacks at the time, and New Orleans went 7-10. Luckily, some of the quarterback confusion was eliminated after signing Derek Carr to a 4-year, $150 million contract. And he started in every game in 2023 en route to a 9-8 season. He ended up missing some time due to an injury last season, and it wasn't pretty when Carr was out. Allen was fired after just a 2-7 start, and special teams coordinator Darren Rizzi was named the interim. The Saints went a disappointing 5-12. Carr was 5-5, Spencer Rattler went 0-6 in his starts, and Jake Haener lost his only start. And now Dennis Allen is the Bears defensive coordinator. Dennis Allen was, frankly, a shit show in New Orleans. He got hired based off of technicalities. Obviously, he was in New Orleans for a while.
Technicalities? No, I mean, look, if you go back, I don't blame Loomis. I mean, think about it. If you go back when Peyton leaves, the team is in transition. The only thing that's really going for the team at that point is the defense, which Dennis Allen has like a top 5 unit. So you're probably thinking, look, we got to try and keep this thing together. Let's just try and see what Dennis can do. He's been here for a long time. At the time, he's probably the best DC in the NFL, so we don't want to lose him. So we'll give him the shot. I mean, yeah, obviously hindsight 2020, but I don't blame him for thinking about that. I mean, like if Andy Reid left the Chiefs, there would absolutely be conversation if Spagnuolo should be the head coach.
So it just made sense to make him the successor, but it just didn't work out. Yes, they had 2 winning seasons, but they never really got above the 9-8 threshold. The team really didn't progress under Dennis Allen, and that's the biggest reasoning for his firing. It just wasn't great under him. Dennis Allen is now in the same type of category as a guy like Josh McDaniels, who's had multiple chances to be an NFL head coach and really flopped both times. Now, I will say his time with the Saints went much better than his time with the Raiders, because if it didn't, I'd be pretty damn concerned. But even then, man, it just wasn't great. Dennis Allen had to go, they had to move, and really this team is in desperate need of just a full rebuild. But getting Kellen Moore was step 1 in the right direction of moving on to a new era for the New Orleans Saints.
Is that it? Was that the whole video? Was that the whole thing? That was it? Wait, it ended? Hold on.
And then, man, it just wasn't great. Dennis Allen.
So it ended with Dennis Allen talk?
Step 1 in the right direction of.
So Kellen Moore was step 1 in the right direction for the Saints. Why is it impossible for Kellen Moore to fix the Saints? Did I miss it? Was there a part 3? Am I watching this out of order? Is this the entire video? So. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so let's try and break this down. I'm a little bit befuddled. I feel like I just watched the Blair Witch or something. So, all right, let's. Where's my pen? Where's my paper? Where's my pad? What's going on here? All right, so let's break this whole thing down, and feel free in the comment section to play along with me here. Maybe you saw something I didn't see. All right, so let's start at the beginning. It is impossible for Kellen Moore to fix the New Orleans Saints. That is the thesis. Okay, then we go through Kellen Moore's life and what he did in high school, and then we take a little detour. and we talk about what Kirby Moore did in high school. Now, you may wonder why is that relevant at all? Let's not get bogged down in the details. Then we go back to Kellen in college. Then we go through Kellen's coaching arc. Okay, then we get to the Saints. And then we talk about why Dennis Allen failed with the Saints. So then Dennis Allen failed. And so then we get back to Kellen. And then Kellen is the first step of the Saints getting back. And that equals that it's impossible for Kellen Moore to fix the New Orleans Saints. I mean, am I on an island here, ladies and gentlemen? Does that make sense to any of y'all? This is one lazy AF. I didn't want to curse. One lazy AF video. I mean, didn't even try to explain why it's impossible for Kellen Moore to fix the New Orleans Saints. But let me try and dispel some of the arguments that he didn't bring up. But someone who was not just mailing it in, what they may say the Saints have a bad salary cap situation and that Kellen Moore won't be able to do anything with the roster because of the salary cap. Well, to that, I would say that those aging players that this guy talked about, those aging players are naturally expiring either their contracts or their careers in the next 2 years. And in 2026 and 2027, the Saints are well under the salary cap. What that number will officially be, who the hell knows. But as of right now, they have somewhere around $80 million and $200 million to play with. Now, obviously, those numbers won't be exact because they have to sign players and restructure contracts and things like that. But it will certainly be under. So we can go ahead and check that off. So let's just check that off the list. Salary cap is taken care of. All right, now let's talk about the actual roster. The roster is absolutely getting older. But again, if those older players retire or are released or traded or whatever, well, then that would inherently make the roster younger, especially if the Saints are drafting well. So the two biggest concerns are the salary cap and the age of the roster, both of which are being handled and dealt with and are good to go. Both situations are obviously, and literally you can find this anywhere. You can find the details. Both are being taken care of. So remove those two. If you remove those two, why is it impossible for Kellen Moore to fix the Saints? Well, the Saints suck. The Saints are a shit show, right? Saints are this, Saints are that. Saints are one of the most winning franchises in the NFL since 2000. Regular season, postseason, don't care. Multiple conference championship appearances, won a Super Bowl. You can go on and on and on. All right, 12 wins, 13 wins, all this stuff. Okay? No doubt. And that is with 3 consecutive 7-9 seasons with Drew Brees and Sean Payton. All right? And that's with the last couple of years under Dennis Allen. The rock bottom for the Saints before last year was 7 wins. They did not win less than 7 games before last year in, what was it, like 20 years almost? 19 years, something like that? So if there was any team in the NFL that would be able to get back to a winning way or a consistent winning way or to figure themselves out of this hole and get back to what is normal for them, it would be the Saints. Bottom line, there are few teams in the NFL who have been as consistent as the Saints have been over the last 2 decades. Teams like the Eagles. The Eagles won a Super Bowl. Next thing you know, they crash out and win 4 games. They had the 2nd overall pick, took Carson Wentz. That didn't work out. This is obviously before the whole Foles thing. But You know, they even had their down years. Like, good teams like that had their down years, or good franchises like that had their down years. The 49ers saw them last year, 6 wins. Okay, now you think about the Saints for such a long period of time, winning and being consistent and being good and maneuvering the cap and drafting. You look at some of the draft classes and all that stuff that they've had, very impressive. And it's crazy how, right as the Saints are fixing all of it, right as the Saints are righting the wrongs, and right as the Saints are doing what everyone wants them to do, we have people who are like, yeah, I don't know if they're going to do what we want them to do. Like, what do you mean? You didn't just see what happened? You didn't just see that they are doing what you want them to do? Like, I see people in the comments all the time. They're like, yeah, man, everyone, the Saints just, they just do the same thing over and over and over again. I was like, what are you talking about? They have Kellen Moore and Brandon Staley, and like they have a completely new coaching staff. Like, they're completely outside voices. Last year they got Clint Kubiak, which was a completely new offense. Like, what do you mean? They're actively fixing the things that you have a problem with. Oh, well, the Saints, salary cap, they'll never figure the cap out. They are actively figuring the cap out. Oh, well, the Saints are old, man. They'll never be a young roster. They are actively getting younger. I mean, I'm telling you guys, people are going to blink, and the Saints are going to have the most cap room in the NFL. Not that it really matters, but they'll have the most cap room in the NFL, and they're going to have the youngest roster in the NFL. And people are going to look around like, what just happened? Because no one's paying attention. So this video is a disaster. I'm absolutely shocked that what I just watched, but it is what it is. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you in the next video.